The thing is, sometimes you're trying to get a business credit card, but you were doing things wrong. You were applying the wrong way, and then you were surprised that your ass is getting denied all the time. It doesn't really matter whether you have a startup or you have an established business. You need to really understand that there are a few things that will always make you be approved for a business credit card. It's not like rocket science. People trying to make it complicated, but it's not. Okay, so in today's conversation, I want to give you a few tips, a few hacks, a few tricks, if you will, that will help you get approved all the time. Okay, and there are things you need to know before even applying for a business credit card. Now, let me give you the overview here. There are a few reminders that you really need to pay attention to. So when we talk about a business credit card, you need to understand three things, three important things. You don't need to have a business to qualify for a business credit card. If you do, it's great, but you could be a sole proprietorship, you could be a freelancer, you can be an independent contractor and still qualify for a business credit card. Now, it will be kind of complicated for you to get it with using EIN only, but you can certainly get a business credit card. That's not a problem, okay? And I just want to say also that you can actually be a single member LLC and still qualify for a business credit card. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to know about business credit cards. The second thing I want to clarify, because a lot of folks people are confused about that, is that business credit cards are generally meant to be used for business expenses only. Okay, don't you try to start confusing yourself and the IRS by trying to put personal expenses on a business credit card. This is going to be a losing battle for you. Don't do that. Okay, you can charge on the business credit card things like office supplies, office furniture, travel, okay, in some cases entertainment, but it has to be business oriented entertainment. It's really important also to understand that when you are a new business, when you're a startup, you don't use money that you don't have in the bank, money that you haven't earned yet. In other words, don't charge everything on a business credit card. You would not be able to survive. That's the second thing I really want you to remember. The third thing that's really foundational when it comes to business credit card is that you have to actually tell the bank or the credit card issuer overall, like in general, you have to let people know your spending pattern. Like they ask you your spending limit, how much you intend on charging on the card. Okay, so you got to give us some kind of estimate to the bank so they know. I mean, I'm not saying if you tell them, hey, listen, I'm going to charge $10,000 on the card, they will automatically give you $10,000, but at least it gives them an idea about how much to give you as credit limit, as initial credit limit. Let me give you a few pro tips so you really have to, you can really understand like the things you need to know before you get a business credit card. It's really important to understand that business credit is different than personal credit. Even if you're a sole proprietor, okay, you can be a sole proprietorship and still have business credit. Here I'm talking about business credit with all the related terms such as business credit score. So you can be a sole proprietor, you can be an independent contractor, you can be a consultant, you can be a freelancer and have a paydex score. It is possible. In other words, you are setting up your business as DBA, so doing business as, okay? So business credit is really different than personal credit. So when we talk about, let's say a business credit score, for example, you're looking at what? 0 to 100 for the paydex score, okay? And when you talk about the personal credit score, you're looking at 300 to 850. So you have differences there. Yes, granted, things like CUR, things like your payment history, those are important regardless of the platform you're talking about, regardless whether you're speaking about business credit or personal credit. Okay, and so similarly, you also have things like secure credit cards also available for businesses also. Okay, but I really want to emphasize the fact that a business doesn't have to be registered or incorporated. We've got a lot of messages from our viewers and other well-wishers, if you will, and people are just asking us, do I need to be registered or incorporated to actually qualify for a business credit card? And the answer is no, you don't have to. Okay, having an employer identification number is also not required, although it may be helpful when applying for a higher end business credit card, or if you're trying to shield yourself from liability. Okay, like if you're trying to get a no personal guarantee business credit card, like Ramp or Brex 30 or DV. Okay, in those cases, yeah, they will be very important. But overall, you really don't need to be registered or incorporated. You can actually operate as a DBA, doing business as, and that will not create a problem at all. This is totally fine. And all big banks actually they will take care of you. They will accept you. Not a problem. Another thing I really want you to know before actually getting a business credit card is that business cards don't have the same liability protections as personal cards. What's really important is that, when you have a personal credit card, for example, right? Let's say something happened, you are a victim of fraud, somebody actually used your card like fraudulently. The credit card issuer, by law, will actually shield you from personal liability. In other words, you don't have to pay this, okay? But the thing is, if you have a business credit card and somebody used your card fraudulently, you're not going to actually get off the hook, not at all. Okay, so it's really important to remember that, because the Card Act of 2009 gave personal credit card holders beneficial protections like zero liability in case of fraud, a 21-day grace period to pay back purchases, and required notice of increasing interest rates. Business cards, however, are technically exempt from those protections. So what we have seen in our researches here is that some business credit cards follow these guidelines anyway, but it's really important to always understand that a card terms and conditions before applying. I know nobody wants to read the fine prints. People talk about, fine prints are so granular. I don't want to waste my time. My eyes are hurting me. Okay, but it is still your responsibility to make sure that you understand what you are signing, what you are getting yourself into. Okay, so in addition to cardholder protections, there are two types of debt liability that applies to a business card. So you have commercial liability and joint and several liability. Okay, so large businesses and corporations with corporate cards can usually enjoy commercial liability, which means what? It means that the business itself, not the cardholder, is liable for debt should a creditor if a creditor comes knocking, then the business itself is liable. Now, small business owners and independent contractors may have joint and several liability on the card, meaning what? Meaning both the business and the cardholder are liable for debts. That's why a lot of folks are interested in the no PG, no personal guarantee business credit card. Okay, so the cardholder in this case could take a hit on his or her personal credit score and even have a debt sent to a collection agency. So it's really important, if you want to avoid all of these things, pay your bills on time every month, okay, so that you can actually stay away from any problem at all, any problem whatsoever, okay, and use your card responsibly, and try to divorce your personal affairs, your personal expenses from your business expenses. Another thing I want to say here, and a lot of folks have no idea about that, you need to really remember that business credit cards have rewards too. And as a matter of fact, some of those rewards are tailored to business expenses. So don't believe that because you have a business credit card, it's all about business. Yes, it's all business. You should use the card for business purposes. But hey, listen, you can also enjoy the card. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, like personal credit cards, some business cards offer rewards to cardholders. I'm talking about cashback, travel rewards, and welcome bonuses, to name a few. And some business credit cards may even offer short-term financing for large purchases, which is really helpful for a new business trying to get off the ground. So you'll have some business credit cards that will give you like a balance transfer window that will go all the way to 18 months, for example. This is really good. 0%, this is really good. So when trying to decide on which business credit card you want to focus on, you need to take a look at what types of rewards are offered, and what is your business really anticipating in terms of expenses. what are your dollars? What are your corporate dollars going? Okay, so low introductory APR periods can be helpful for, let's say, building good business credit without racking up interest on large purchases. Rewards points or cashback can be redeemed for business travel, office supplies, or gift cards for employees. It's also important to understand that if you want to, if you're interested in purchase protections, then you will love purchase protections like extended warranties and return protection, which could be really useful for buying new equipment and furniture, especially if the equipment is kind of expensive. If the furniture is kind of expensive, you will love to have those sort of extended warranties. Okay. One thing I need to say here is that just keep in mind that any purchase made using cashback or rewards points may not be entirely tax deductible as a business expense. But this is beside the point. It's one of those things we actually had last year when we were actually we were doing our tax business tax videos, and a lot of viewers were asking those questions. So you have to be very clear. You have to be very careful here. But anyway, you want to consult your tax professional to learn more. Another thing you need to be really clear about before you actually get a business credit card is that some of the applications, when it comes to business credit cards, they do require more information than personal card applications. You need to understand, when we talk about a classic, a typical business credit card application, the credit card issuer is trying to analyze two things at the same time. The credit card issuer is analyzing your business, and at the same time analyzing your individual's affair, right? Because most small business owners, when they apply for a business credit card, they do so without EIN. In other words, they are pledging a personal guarantee indirectly. Okay, that's what I spoke about, joint and several liability. So the credit card issuer is actually looking at those two sets of documents. Okay, so business credit card applications typically ask for similar personal information required for a personal credit card application, like the name, the date of birth, the social security number, and address. Business credit card application also required information related to the business itself, like the name of the business, the industry, the EIN, if applicable, and revenue. Revenue is an important element, and so we're talking about what the revenue and by extension the four types of accounting reports. So statement of cash flows, income statement, balance sheet, and statement of owner's equity. And in some cases, a business credit card application might require you to submit a business plan, because basically, again, when it comes to a business credit card application, the issuer is actually veering toward granularity. They are actually veering toward detail. They're veering toward comprehensiveness. Okay, and a business credit card issuer will take a look at all the necessary information provided in the application, plus the applicant's personal and business credit history, to decide whether the business and its owner will be a reliable borrower. Okay, so this is really important. So having good to excellent personal credit is actually recommended in order to qualify for the best business credit cards with the best rewards. Having said that, you can still qualify if you have bad credit. This is not a problem at all. So before applying to any business credit card, always read the terms and qualifying conditions first, okay? And applying for too many cards in a short period of time can reduce your credit score, making it harder to qualify for a different credit card or other type of loan. So be very careful there. Next thing you need to really think about here is that business credit cards, and we know this, usually have a higher credit limits than personal credit cards, only if your credit score, if your credit worthiness actually is kind of high, okay? Because obviously you're not going to have, you are more likely to get 100,000 in credit limits on a business credit card than you are if you are having a personal credit card, okay? And everything is held constant. Even if your FICO score is like through the roof, you really have to have like a super sturdy financial platform or financial life or financial stability, to actually qualify for those super high limits. One thing I want to say here is that business credit card issuers, they really understand what's really happening here, okay? Because businesses have larger monthly expenses and larger income levels than regular consumers do. Business credit cards tend to have higher credit limits, sometimes in the ballpark of an extra zero, okay? And the issuer will decide what a card's credit limits will be after analyzing a business owner's application and credit history. And some business owners tend to have higher credit than average consumers, which may also contribute to the higher credit limits trend among small businesses. And what we have seen in our research here is that business cardholders can request higher credit limits at any time by contacting a card issuer. So you always have the option to contact your card issuer and actually make a case, okay? And the good thing you also need to know here is that employees can have their own credit cards. Obviously, everything will be under the umbrella of the company. You as the business owner, you can monitor their expenses. You can actually set the credit limits so that, come tax time or come financial accounting or reporting time, you are able to know exactly who spent what and for what. Okay, so most business card issuers allow cardholders to order credit cards for employees, and issuers may provide a few employee cards for free, while other issuers may charge a fee per card. So it is really stuff that you need to know. And what we have seen also is that many cards allow the primary cardholder to oversee employee spending, and by setting spending limits, that's what I just said, you also have alerts for card activity and even card limits. So keep in mind that employee business credit cards may have joint and several liability, which means that the employee and business owner may be equally responsible for the card's debt. Now, one thing I also need to say, and you have to be very careful here, is that business credit cards may have different payment terms than personal cards. Like, the whole thing about, hey, listen, you probably have a 28-day grace period. This may not be the case for a business credit card. This is why, going back to what I said earlier, you always want to read the fine print. Very important that you familiarize yourself with the fine print so you are clear about what the terms and conditions are, because for all intents and purposes, the business credit card issuer is just trying to mitigate risk. Doesn't matter whether you have a business credit card or a personal credit card, the issuer is trying to mitigate risk, okay? And card issuers recognize that businesses do not always have cash on hand to pay for large purchases. Some cards offer extended payment options that allow the cardholder to finance large purchases with special terms. And cardholders may be able to pay off the purchase over a longer period of time without accruing interest or without accruing the card's full interest. Okay, so those are things you really, and something that a lot of card issuers don't do for individuals. And you know what? That makes sense anyway, because card issuers make money by charging fees, right? So if a business were to charge, let's say, $50,000 on a card, the fee that the bank would have made on that single transaction maybe can actually cover the interest rate that they could actually charge the borrower, the business borrower. Okay, so one thing I also want to say here is that it's really important to understand that payment terms vary depending on the issuer and the card. Okay, a business card holder should, if you are a business card holder and you are wondering what kind of conditions you can get, you can please call your card issuer to discuss payment options. But and this goes back to another piece of advice that I love to give on this show, is to always apply for a business credit card or a personal credit card for that matter at the bank where you are currently at, because you already have a relationship with them. You can parlay that relationship into a higher credit limits or a higher success when it comes to approval odds. Okay, so this is really important. So be very strategic here and be very smart. Always apply where they already know you. This is really important. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just talking to you about a few things you need to know before you get a business credit card, so you can actually use the card optimally, okay? And also improve your chances of actually getting approved in the first place. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.